Hello, Year 8. This is the solution to week 19, recall and retrieve. I'll be going through the first 4 questions. If you are here for the answers to questions 5 to 8, then check the timestamp in the description below. So, question number 1. Work out the following for the set of raw data. We've got the mode, the median, the mean, and the range. We had one of these earlier in the year. The mode is the number that appears the most. So looking at these values, the number that appears the most is 5.8 because there are 2 of them. The median is the number in the middle when they are in order of size. Now, because there's 5 numbers, the third largest will be in the middle. So the third largest, 1, 2, 3, is 4.2. Just saves me writing them all out in order. For the mean is where we add them all up and divide by how many numbers there are. Now, these numbers aren't too bad to add up, but for the sake of it, I'm just going to use a calculator to add them up. So I'll be adding them up and then dividing by 5 because there's 5 numbers. And when you actually add them up, you get the answer 20, and 20 divided by 5 is 4. And then the range is the difference between the biggest and the smallest. So always show some working out. The biggest is 5.8, the smallest is 1.7, and if you subtract those, that is an answer of 4.1. Question 2, use the prime factor tree below to help write 90 as products of primes. Well, remember, we're after numbers that multiply to make in these branches. So 90 is 9 times 10. Neither of these numbers are prime. 9 is 3 times 3, and 10 is 2 times 5. And it asks us to write it as a product of primes. We'll do this in numerical order. 2 times 3 times 3. Well, I can write that as 3 squared times 5. Question 3 is a division, and it says calculate 59.64 divided by 1.4. So not using a calculator here, we're using a written method. Well, we know that that is equivalent to, if I times that by 10 and times that by 10, it is going to be the same as 596.4 divided by 14. I'll just jot some of my 14 times table down the side of my page. All I'm doing here is repeatedly adding 14. So 14, 28, 42, another 14 would be 56, another 14 would be 70, and that looks good because 14 times 5 is 70, so I'm good so far. 84, 98, 112, 126, 140. So that's there to help me out. 596.4 divided by 14. So 14's into 5 doesn't go. Carry the 5. 14 into 59 goes 4 times with 3 left over. 14 into 36 goes twice with 28 to 36 is 8 left over, and 14 into 84 is 6 times. So our answer is 42.6. Question number 4 is a Pythagoras question from earlier in the year. We are finding the longest side. So Pythagoras' theorem said a squared plus b squared equals c squared. A, b, and c is always the longest side opposite the right angle. So I've got 6 squared plus 8 squared equals x squared. 6 squared is 36. 8 squared is 64. And that equals x squared. So we've got 100 equals x squared, just adding those together. So x is going to be the square root of 100, which is 10 centimeters. One of those nice Pythagorean triples. These are the answers for questions 5 through to question 8. So question 5 says work out the nth term for this following linear sequence. Well, linear sequence means it's going up by the same amount each time. It's a +6 sequence. That means the first bit of our rule is 6n. To get it to start on 2, well, 6 times 1 would be 6. I need to subtract 4. And I'm just going to check for the 5th term. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is my 5th term. 6 times 5 is 30. Take away 4 is 26. Question 6 says find the sides of angle x. Well, this is an isosceles triangle because of these little whiskers. And if this is angle x, this is also angle x. So I'm going to see what's left from 180 first, because the angles in a triangle add up to 180. And 180 take away 48 is 132. So x must be 132 divided by 2 split into 2 equal bits. And that sounds like 66 degrees. Question 7 says name the 3D shape based on its net. Well, you can see it's square-based. It is a square-based pyramid. Square-based pyramid. Finally, question 8 is a substitution question. A is 6, B is 0.5 or a half, C is -2. Work out the following. So we've got 6 plus 4 0.5s would be 2, and then take away 2. So that one's just 6. We've then got 4 A's. Well, 4 times 6 is 24. But this is where we need to be careful because we are subtracting -2. And when you subtract a negative number, that's like adding, so that one is 26. Question C, we've got to be careful again. It's a half a squared, but because of BIDMAS, we have to do squared first. So we'll do 6 squared, and 6 squared is 36, 6 times 6. But we need to do half of that, so that is 18. And then finally, A plus C divided by B. So we've got to do 6 plus -2. And 6 plus -2, that's like taking away, is 4. But then we're dividing by a half. Now don't get caught out here. Dividing by a half is not the same as dividing by 2. So for all of you who've got the answer 2, I understand that. But 4 divided by a half, how many halves go into 4? The answer to that one is 8. How did you get on?